Hello. Trigger warning. This video discusses supporting someone with an eating disorder or other mental illness. It mentions triggers, emotional distress, guilt, shame, and difficult conversations. Some examples of triggering comments or behaviours are described, so please only watch if you feel prepared to hear about these experiences and take care of yourself while watching. 10 years ago, I made a video about how to support someone with an eating disorder. I collaborated with other people, and I found that throughout this, there was a lot of emphasis on what people shouldn't do or shouldn't say. Don't comment about bodies, don't say you look well, don't ask about food. And that video, called What Not to Do If Your Loved One Has an Eating Disorder, is something that I now challenge. Since making it, I've come to see many of the points very differently. At the time, I showed that video to my dad, and after watching it, he asked, "Why do we have to change who we are?" And that question stuck with me and changed how I approached things from that point on. I realised that I had slowly started putting the responsibility for my triggers on the people around me. Words can hurt, and triggers are real. I still feel them sometimes. But asking loved ones or carers or staff or whoever's around to constantly filter themselves, take responsibility for how much I'm eating, and never say the wrong thing doesn't actually help make things safer. It just creates fear, blame, and distrust. If you're a loved one or caring for someone with mental illness or an eating disorder, you don't have to be perfect. You don't need to have the right words every time. You can make mistakes, have feelings of your own, and still live your life while supporting someone. Another big shift in perception that I've noticed can help loved ones is that support doesn't mean fixing, especially with adults. You don't need to solve the eating disorder or mental illness. You don't have to control their behaviours or intervene constantly. Just showing care, being there, is already far more valuable than people realise. There is a huge difference between trying to recover when you know people love and care and want you to get better, compared to feeling alone with it entirely. It can make you feel powerless at times, but support isn't about solutions. Listening often matters more than managing. Letting someone talk about how hard things are without trying to fix them can make a huge difference. Even something simple like saying, "That sounds really tough," or "Oh my goodness, I didn't know how difficult that was for you," or "I'm here with you," can mean more than perfect advice ever could. As someone with an illness, feeling like people have an idea of how hard things are for you can be incredibly helpful. And one thing I really want this video to help with is to say that you definitely have permission for boundaries and breaks, and in fact they are essential. Taking a break doesn't mean that you're giving up. Protecting your own mental health doesn't make you selfish. If you're the person without the eating disorder or mental illness, you have something that the person you're supporting doesn't. Choice. Choice about how close you get, how much you step in, when you rest, or how you adjust your role. You can step away sometimes. You can rest. You can put the weight down. And that's a good thing. You don't need to climb into their storm. Not because you don't care, but because it doesn't help either of you. People with these kind of illnesses are often painfully aware of the burden that they feel that they put on others. That guilt and shame usually makes recovery harder. If loved ones stop living their lives, stop resting, or ignore their own needs, it can make that burden heavier. The person with the illness may shrink, hide things, or feel unable to be honest. Continuing with your life, while still caring, can actually help your loved one to feel safer. It can reduce guilt and make it easier for them to be honest about what they're really struggling with. Yes, you will say the wrong thing sometimes, that's normal. What matters more than being perfect is being able to repair. I didn't mean it that way, I'm sorry. Repair builds far more trust than trying to never make mistakes. If the person that you care for is also watching, they might want to check out my companion video for people with eating disorders. It's got a long title, but it's how to handle triggering comments for eating disorder and mental health recovery. It explains how to respond to triggers and build resilience. That question that my dad asked really changed how I see support and developed my own resilience. Real support isn't about becoming someone else. It's about showing up, being kind, honest, and human, while also taking care of yourself. You don't need to carry the illness. You don't need to be perfect. And it's okay to be yourself and look after your well-being too. Thank you.